Dr. Jahlil's here, man. Dr. Jahlil's here. Dr. Jahlil's here, man. Dr. Jahlil.
CT. Oh yeah, this is where that ball go up at. Just get Cass. You know where I'm at, Cass. Tech. Okay. All right, guys. Got another one here. This is Coach Hall. We have Coach Steve Hall with us today. So thanks for joining us on Sweat Equity Stories, where we're all about the grind, the work, and the passion behind the success. When we're all about the grind, the work, and the passion behind the success. And Coach, can you just start it off by letting everybody know who you are and some of your accomplishments?
Hold on, we're gonna do the reaction to this, and then we're gonna react to people games.
And coaching, and also your playing career.
Okay. Sweat Equity, thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Coach Steve Hall from Detroit Cass Tech High School. As a player, I started off at Cass Tech, graduated Cass Tech in 1988. Had a successful playing career, University of Washington and Virginia Tech, and I also played basketball in 5 countries over a 4-year span professionally. After that, I got into coaching. I've coached at Detroit Rogers High School, Detroit Northwestern High School, and before I started at Cass Tech, I was at Duquesne University and Youngstown State University.
Okay. Do you have any championships? Like, can you talk a little stuff do you have any championship here at PSL? Did you have any championships as a player? And just talk about some of your
You know you do. You know he do. Stop. He know he do, bro. You know he
accomplishments.
do.
I mean, I know you have a lot of accomplishments being far as in doing what you do for the kids and doing what you do for the community and touching people's lives. But talk about some of your basketball accomplishments as far as in championships or the great things that you have accomplished in the sport as far as in coaching and or playing.
Okay. So once again, I'll start from high school. When I was at Cass Tech in 1988, we had the best record in school history. We were 22-4 at that time, and I was the leading scorer in the state of Michigan. Um, when I was at Detroit Rogers High School, we won 3 state championships. We also won a state championship here at Cass Tech. I've coached 6 PSL championship teams, five at Cass Tech, and 1 at Detroit Northwestern.
Talk that stuff, coach. Talk that stuff. Okay, so if I were to walk into your practice right now and ask your players to describe you in one word, what would they say?
Regimented, structured. Um, Probably would be what they say. It's a lot of structure, order, and discipline, I believe. So just creatures of habit. One word would be structure.
Mm, so why would they say structure? Like, would they? Are you like? Why would they say that?
Just because we treat the practice floor as preparation. We got high-level student athletes here at Cass Tech, so the same thing in the classroom. There's a lesson plan to be carried out. In our practices, there's a practice plan to be carried out. So we are purposeful in what we're doing with our time, and you can see that if you walk in that it's no will, free will, and it's always going to be structured and orderly.
Coach, I love to hear that. Now, where did that structure come from? Did that structure come from your time in a in your college ranks, or did the structure just come from you just being a structured person in your life?
structure came from home. The structure came
Mm,
from my parents. It was instilled in me from birth. And then I
mm.
came to Cass Tech as a student, and it was the order and structure and discipline was something that I lived as a student at Cass Tech, and that's something that's part of me now, and that's something that I try to implement into my children and my players and my students.
Good job, coach. Okay, so your coaching style, uh, who does your coaching style mirrors? Or who has your coaching style either in the NBA or in the college? Who do you mirror, or not you mirror? You have your own coaching style, but who would you think is something like your coaching style in the NBA and or college?
Well, I'll probably Dion will leave that up to the person that's evaluating or assessing me,
Hmm.
but who I look up to, who I admire over the years, would be Kelvin Sampson and Leonard Hamilton. Those are a couple people that I respect and admire from a distance. And my father, just my father who passed away last year was
Sorry to hear
somebody
about
was
that, coach.
somebody that I mimicked, and grew up with, and without trying to mimic, that just was second nature, just to learn how he was moving. So he was a school administrator and a teacher, and I just think that I admire Kelvin Sampson, Leonard Hamilton, among others. But just my personality and some of my approaches come from home.
Love to hear that, coach. Wow, wow, wow. So, you're able to, aren't you coaching your son this year, right? Correct.
I am.
So, how are you
I
able
am.
to, I was
I
just
am.
talking to, I only bring that up because I was just talking to Coach Brooks, and how to navigate the daddy ball perception.
Well, Coach Brooks is somebody that I talked to, quite a bit. He's done this before. Ray McCallum, Trey Ziegler, Ernie Ziegler are some guys that coached their sons before. But uh, you know, perception is it the eye of the beholder. So I don't really necessarily move to what the perception is, because people are gonna perceive and things the way they want to perceive them. So I don't dance to anybody else's music. But just in terms of being an upstanding person, and loving all my players, it's not a separate criteria or anything separate, because that's my son. When we're on the floor, he's one of my players just like everybody else. That's how I
Mm,
feel.
if you get,
I feel like that's cap, bro. I feel like that's cap, bro. Ain't no way, bro. I feel like that's cap, bro. That is, I feel like that's cap, bro. I feel like that's not cap, or that's not cap, but it is cap though. Literally.
getting the job done, he out. I mean, if you're not getting the job done, he out. If you're getting the job done, you in.
Correct. Correct.
Coach, love to hear that. Okay, so um, who was your favorite NBA player growing up?
My favorite NBA player growing up was Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, and just being from Detroit, Isaiah Thomas. Those were the three people that I enjoyed watching the most. Magic was a big point guard. I was a big point guard. I also was a high scoring guard like Jordan, and that was the big point guard era, and it was a lot of good passers that were coming along. So Isaiah Thomas was a phenomenal ball handler, and those were the three players that I think I enjoyed the most.
Mm, mm. Okay, so uh, you have high school matchups now. You have guys who, I feel like you said you're a structured person, so that you put structure into your players as far as into your process of how you guys play. Who are
But
some of the
how do you, bro? How do you yell, bro? How do Steve yell, bro? Coach Hall yell, bro. How do Coach Hall yell, bro? Literally, bro. How do Coach Hall yell, bro? I wonder how he yell. Do he do like a soft voice or something like that, bro? I gotta ask somebody, bro. How do he yell, bro? How do Coach Hall yell? I don't know. How do Coach Hall yell?
those coaches now that you see as far as in, you know what, this is gonna be one of those games, guys. Bring your stuff. This team ain't gonna quit. I know how they play. I know that coach. I know the program. Who are some of those programs and some of those coaches that you are like not necessarily your rivalry, but some of those
Flowers.
coaches that you know it's about to
He
be one
gonna
of them
say
battles,
Kenneth.
guys. Bring it.
Dion, I'm gonna just answer that question more from a general standpoint.
Hmm.
I think that the Detroit Public School League, you know, people remember how it was in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, and sometimes people, want to perceive it to be not that anymore. And we seeing some of the same challenges that a lot of public schools are across the country, not just in Detroit. And I'm just gonna say that it's a few teams that you need to bring it against, and I'm just gonna shout out the PSL,
Mm.
that's I'm gonna say, that in order for you to win a championship in Detroit Public School League, you're going to be challenged. It's always going to be toughness. It's going to be physical and mental toughness across from you. And we lift weights religiously. We run cross country religiously. We train religiously, and it's always going to be one possession games, and it's going to challenge your manhood in the PSL. So I'm going to say if it's a public school league matchup, eventually, you're going to have to bring it.
Okay. So like, so when you talk about public school, is that like the PSL where like a lot of people say that guys are going over to Catholic schools or going across wherever to suburban schools. So why do you think that's the case in some cases, and why do you think the PSL is still here?
Well, I think it's case by case. I don't want to generalize why. People are doing what they think is best for their children. You can't knock them for doing that. But the PSL is still here. PSL is not going to go anywhere.
Mm.
I think that we've had probably two or three of the last Mr. Basketballs in recent history. We had Pierre Brooks won Mr. Basketball, Chauncey Willis won Mr. Basketball, Darius Acuff was a Max Preps Player of the Year. Sometimes people think that going across 8 Mile might be better, and that might be better for them, but that's not gonna stop our success. We're gonna be who we are.
Mm. Coach, talk that talk. Coach, I mean, just from talking to you right now, I love your demeanor. I love the way the way I'm learning something just by how you're speaking very fluently. And I'm just learning something from just being around you, just from this few minutes already. So, take us back to where did you grow up, and what was life for you like as a kid?
I grew up over by University of Detroit, 6 Mile Livernois area, in the 80s,
Mm.
and it was different back then. The city was booming. We had over 1 million people, maybe close to 2 million people, and just the classmates I had at Cass Tech and what people are doing now in the community, just lets me know how fortunate I was to grow up at that time and how fine those memories are, and that's one of the things that led me back here,
Bro, I
seeing
wonder how do he yell, bro. Bro, what do he do? Like, how do he yell, bro? I just wanna know, bro. I just wanna know, like, I never seen this dude yell before. How do you yell at Stevie, bro? How do you yell at him? Bro, fix your audio, bro. Hmm.
to answer that question, you kind of got to reflect because you don't really know what's normal and what's not normal when you're going through it. So
Mm.
so when I reflect on my childhood, I wouldn't trade it for the world. But some of the things that were normal for me, I didn't realize they weren't normal until I left. Like bulletproof glass at McDonald's. Like
Mm.
party stores with bulletproof glass between yourself and the cashier. Knowing that I can't go to this gas station, it's not safe. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. It made me a worldly person, and you kind of learn how to move and how to maneuver, and you need those characteristics in life. So, I value my upbringing. It was phenomenal, and I think that it produced a lot of great people.
That's good, Coach. So, who or what first introduced you to basketball?
My father was a college athlete. I
Mm.
think he probably had quite a bit to do with introducing me to basketball. I think my passion for basketball went to another level when I lost my mom. It was
Oh,
more or less,
sorry to hear about that, bro.
thank you. It was more or less therapeutic. It was just something that I wasn't balanced. Dion, I was entrenched with basketball. And it brought me comfort. It brought me joy. you know, and I think it just created something that a fire that still burns in me now. It's not as a player now; it's as a coach. But you know, I don't. I'm not saying that for sympathy. I just think that it was just that profound, you know. And I've seen a lot of people in the city and in other cities where, you know, that's something that can save you, motivate you, help you get a college scholarship, you know. And I'm just somebody that believes in it.
Mm. So was your daddy was you and your dad having, say your dad plays college ball, were you watching him from afar, or did you guys have battles? Did he say, son, you know, were you watching him in his practices? Like how did that battery get into you to say, you know what, I want to just I want to do this.
Just being a father, you know. I mean, he was a college football player actually, and I don't think that he was going out his way to create an athlete. I think it's just you know, that you learn life skills through athletics oftentimes, or whatever that person's you know, background is. You know, that person might have a background in, you know, cosmetology, whatever it may be. You know, he was an educated man. You know, and he instilled values in me. You know, and my passion was athletics, so I use a lot of those values through athletics.
Mm, okay, coach. So when you were young, did you have a coach or a mentor who left a big impression on you?
I think you get a little bit from each coach that you had. You know,
Mm,
I still have a close relationship with my high school coach, Clarence Wynn, who coached
mm,
me at Cass Tech. You know,
mm,
and you know, that's something that's important to me, to try to have relationships with my players after they play. And oftentimes it takes a while for them to realize the tough love and value, you know, what it is. So, you know, I just reflect on the relationship and the time that I had with my high school coach, Coach Clarence Wynn, and that's the person that probably resonates the most for me.
mm. Wow, wow. Okay, so what did hard work mean to you back then compared to what it means now?
Well, I think I've always valued hard work. You know, you learn the value of it as you get older. You know, you can see what not working hard can get you. You know, and so when you're dealing with people that's not working hard, you can try to give them examples of success stories with hard work, and some people that came up short because they didn't work so hard. You know, so I that was always something that was emphasized. I believe I always worked hard. You know, but I definitely respect and value people that work hard.
Mm, mm. Okay, okay. So walk us through your playing career. What was your style like on the court?
I was a big guard, big combination guard. Scored a lot in high school. Um, I think Mr. Ogletree told me that I'm still the all-time leading scorer at Cass. Um, when I was coming along, it was a big point guard era that led me to the Pac-10 at the time with Pooh Richardson, Gary Payton, Sean Elliott, Terrell Brandon. Those were some of the guys that were in the conference when I was out there.
That's
And
crazy.
you know, just you know, in
That's,
order to liken
that's super crazy, bro.
what I did, just in terms of what's going on now, you know, so you have
That's
to look at
super
size. You
crazy.
know, Shea Gilgis Alexander's a bigger guard. You know,
Mm,
Penny Hardaway was a bigger guard. You know, and that's some of the guys who,
Yes.
you know, I could point to in
Huh? Huh?
terms of just as a reference point, maybe.
so those are some of the guys. I know I asked you earlier who's some of your favorite NBA players, and I'm sure you still watch the game today. So those are some of the guards who you say that kind of that you may like, love, or just kind of favor your style.
It's just different. It's different now because when during our era, you had true point guards. You know, you had people that were creating for others and making other
Yeah,
people
yeah,
better.
yeah. No, I'm not in your era. I'm sorry.
Now it's more or less positionless. That's what they call it. You know,
Hmm.
and even somebody that's dynamic like Jalen Brunson, who I like. You know, he had 50-point games. You know, and
Yeah, I like Jalen Brunson too. Yeah, I like him too.
we had people that were having, you know, double figure assist games, and you know, so it's a difference, man. I try to, you know, respect the eras, you know, and not necessarily compare and try to um, rank the eras. It's just a different era now. So, you know, I just try to appreciate today's basketball for what it is.
As you should, coach. You got to be the got to love this game and for wherever it evolves to. So do you remember a moment that tests your grit as a player or as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, there's moments that test my grit and my as a player and as a coach every day. You know, especially growing up in Detroit. You know, I can remember one time when I was in high school and we were playing at Murray Wright, and you know, that was a pretty imposing place to play, and I was having a real good game, and I was hot, and the ball went into the bleachers, and I went after the ball in the bleachers and went out in the Murray Wright section,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and before I was able to get back on the court, I don't think anybody else saw it, but one of the Murray Wright fans pulled out a knife and stuck it to my side and told me don't hit another jump shot.
Oh shit.
So that's
Oh
something
my
that I kind of
god,
story that.
that is so crazy, bro. Bro, we would never would have seen Stevie Hall, bro. You never seen Stevie Hall, bro. Get made, bro, in the flesh. If that happened, bro.
That kind of comes back to my mind. It's kind of funny, just reflecting,
Trying, no, I'm just playing.
on it. But
Oh my.
that happened at Murray Wright.
Oh my God. Well, I got another question for you. Did you go off? Did you did you go off after that?
You know what? I remember continuing to play well, man. I remember continuing to have a good game that day at Murray Wright.
Ooh-wee. Dang. I'd have been like, I would have got to go tell my dad or something like that. Oh my God, that's some grit stuff right there, Coach. You must have been really cooking them.
I mean that's why coaches were flocking from nationwide to come get Detroit kids. Detroit kids were tough, worldly, you know, and you know that's a story that I reflect on as a positive story, you know,
Nice.
not as a negative story. You know, that's where we came from, and that's what it created, man. It created some monsters.
Ooh-wee. That was a good one right there, Coach. So if we were to look at old game footage of you, what would we see? Would we see the hustle, the flash, the leadership, or would we see all three?
I think you'll see all three. You know, I was a player that later became a coach. You know, a friend of mine, Anderson Hunt, you know, who played at Southwestern and UNLV, um, ran across one of my friends that I went to in college out in Las Vegas because they both live in Las Vegas. And Anderson Hunt told my friend that he knew back in the 80s that I would be a coach,
Mm.
you know, and no one had ever said that before, you know, so that kind of made me reflect on, you know, maybe what type of kid or player I was for somebody to say that, you know, and
Mm.
that was his assessment. He said, I knew way back then that Steve would be a coach one day. Yeah, so I take that as a compliment.
That's from your peers too. Hell yeah, that's definitely a compliment. So oh wow. So I was gonna say that. So I know you said that he knew you were going to be a coach. So at what point did you know that coaching was your path?
Well, I knew that basketball was my path based on my passion, you know, and you can't play forever, you know, so I think in order to stay close to the game, some people choose to officiate, some people choose to coach. You know, I think somewhere along the line when I realized that I wasn't going to the NBA and I wasn't sure how many more years I was going to go overseas, decided that, you know, I ended up coaching the 14 under AAU team in Detroit, you know, and that situation parlayed into a high school situation. You know, I got offered a job at a startup high school that same fall after I had coached the AAU team, and it was at a high school. And I was, you know, just my grandma was ill, and I was wondering if I was going to go back, and I ended up staying, you know, and haven't looked back.
Mm. Oh wow. Wow. Okay. So was there a specific moment or player that confirmed to you, you know what, this is why I coach?
I had a player at Detroit Rogers, Mike Murray. He was a neighborhood legend. That he had never played high school ball because he wasn't eligible. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he was at Cody, and everybody talked about Mike, but never had any grades. You know, he was just a street legend, a neighborhood, you know, park legend. And I got Mike his junior year at Rogers. He sat out the first semester, played the second semester. He ended up leading the PSL in scoring, and Mike had a baby his senior year,
Mm.
and Mike named his son after me.
Mm.
And that's when that kind of let me know, you know, how powerful this position is. You know, this kid was kind of forgotten about. Nobody thought he was ever going to be eligible, and within a year and a half of having Mike, he led the PSL in scoring. He had a son. He named his son after me, And ironically, some years later, he got married, and I was the best man at his wedding.
Mm.
So I think that let me know like this may be a calling. This is something that's pretty gratifying.
Mm. Wow, that's some big time stuff. Wow, because like this game of life, this game of basketball coaching, everybody's not going to make it to the NBA. So I always say everybody has a unique something that they can give to this world while they're here, and us as coaches and you as a coach, you are helping them get to that point by daily disciplines, by being structured the way you are, because those little things will be big if they look at
That's
it at
so
it.
crazy, man. He named him after him. So crazy, bro. How stories is, bro. How coaching can come like another way, bro. Can come to that, bro. That is so crazy and nice, bro. Wow, man. Never knew that.
To their repertoire of what they're doing to become a young man
Man,
or a
that's
young
my
woman. Or
favorite. This is my favorite coach, bro. I literally coach kill, kill, and Steve and Coach White, and Coach White from Renaissance, Coach White and Coach Steve, Coach Hall, Coach Hall. It was gonna be either between Coach Kill or Coach Steve, Coach Hall, Coach Hall, man, Coach Hall. I love the way he coached, bro. I just love the way he coached, bro. Man, if he asked me, I'll say yeah, man.
or
Man.
whoever it is they're trying to be in their life. Okay. So uh how does coaching compare to playing in terms of the grind?
Similar. What's different to me is that as a player, you kind of feel like you got a direct impact because you're out there. As a coach, you have to instill what you're trying to get across to these players. So sometimes as a coach, I find myself like over preparing, you know, over studying. As a player, I'm just like ref, toss it up.
Hmm.
I'm ready. Because I know that I can go out there and impact it directly. As a coach, I can impact it directly, but it's going to be through others carrying out what I'm trying to get them to do. So to me,
Mm,
that's the difference between the two.
mm. Okay. So when when you hear the phrase sweat equity, what does that mean to you?
Sweat equity means to me, I mean, the amount of sweat, you put in, might be the reward that you get. We always talk about investments. If you make a deposit, then you can make a withdrawal.
Mm.
To me, I look at sweat equity the same way. How can you look back and have some sweat equity? We talk about players being made in the summertime. It's about to be fall now. We're gonna have to ask ourselves, how much sweat equity do we have? How hard have we worked? So that's kind of what it means to me when I see sweat equity.
Mm. That's good, coach. That's good, coach. So just a couple more too. So how do you teach your players to value hard work over shortcuts?
At this stage, we can point to some examples. It's some rafters up there. It's some banners up in the rafters, and it's a year where we told the team like, you're gonna come back here and your year's not gonna be up there.
Mm.
And I won't call them out, but I had a team that was number one in the state, but they didn't have enough sweat equity. They didn't invest enough. They didn't do the things that they needed to do, and we had some championships that when they were predominantly juniors, and then we had some championships the year after they left. But the year that they were there, it didn't work out, and we've been doing it long enough that we can kind of see, the makeup of the team and how it's trending, and we can point to some examples. So at this stage of our career, that's kind of how we move. We point to the examples of success stories and how they moved, and we point to some situations where it didn't work that way. And we all together. So I'm not saying the players, maybe us as coaches could have done better that year, but we generally point at the banners.
Mm, mm. That's good, coach. So, what's one drill or practice habit you swear by to build mental toughness?
one thing that we swear by is cross country. And some of those things we carry on into the season. Even after cross country season is over, we do a lot of running and conditioning, and we go against the clock. And it's nowhere to hide when it's just you and that clock. So that's something that we believe in. We believe in challenging you, testing you, pushing you to the limit with that clock. And conditioning your mind and your body.
Because like to have that conditioning, not have a basketball, not dribbling, not doing all that, you got to come from a place from within to be able to get to that point to where you're, because some people may say, oh man, 3 miles, man, dang, but to be able to get through that is mental toughness for sure. Okay. So do you think today's generation of athletes has it harder or easier when it comes to earning success?
So, one thing I try to do is, like I said, be open-minded to the eras and generations. It'd be easy for me to just say, oh, they have it a lot easier, but, if they do have it a lot different, it's because of some of the things that those before them did, so we just try to instill in them to make those behind them have it easier than they had it, and that's kind of how I try to look at it more than, saying, I mean, it's the guys are getting paid money, Dion. Like, in order for me to get paid money after college, I had to go to Australia 20 hours in an airplane and not see my family for 8 months to make money. Nowadays, they can go to school, take classes virtually, make money, and get a scholarship, and that's an evolution. So instead of being envious of that, I
Bro,
just, feel like, maybe.
listen, bro. Listen, bro. Coaches be looking at me crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Man, bro. Bro, they be looking like, what are you here for? What are you here for? You know? What are you here for?
Maybe we had something to do with getting it to this point.
Mm. Two more questions, coach, and we out of here. Okay, so when your players graduate and move on, what's the number one thing you hope they carry with them from your program?
Just having a foundation to be able to be successful at the next level. Our kids come to us every day, student athletes, and say, "Hey, this academic rigor is tough, but I'm prepared for it. This college coach or this college coach's practice is tough, but I can deal with it. You prepared us for this. This is and college coaches even say, hey man, we want more of your players. Colleges say we want more of your students because they have a foundation and they're ready to go be successful. That's what's most important to me.
Coach, okay. All right, just one more. Oh wait, two more. So what's next for you and your team this season?
Just maximizing our potential and doing the best that we can. It's easy to say that correlates into championships, and obviously we are about winning. But my goal is to get the most out of our team. One of the most gratifying teams I had was 2 years ago after we won the state championship. We lost 4 starters and we had an All-American coming back. That All-American left early, so we ended up having 5 brand new starters. So everybody was lined up to get licks, some licks on us, and that team went 22-3, won the PSL championship, and was ranked number 2 in the state before the state tournament started with 5 brand new starters. We didn't win the state championship, but I do feel like as coaches we got as much as we could out of that team. So I'm trying to squeeze the orange and get all the juice out of each orange each year. That's the goal.
Coach, good job. Okay. Last one. So if you can leave this audience with a line about success, hard work, or life, your own personal sweat equity motto, what would it be?
My model that I use is learning life skills through basketball. So we're hoping that this basketball can we can dangle this carrot, and help motivate you to reach heights that you didn't think you could reach. And once the basketball is gone, the values are already instilled, and now you got a powerful person that's ready to be a success. That's the goal. That's the plan. That's the model.
Coach, I appreciate you, and I tell everybody all the time, if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Appreciate you for giving me your time and telling me yes. And we're at Cast Tech with Coach Steve Hall, and this is Miss Sweat Equity Stories, and I want to thank Coach Hall.
Appreciate you having me.
Coach, thank you, man. All right, take care, guys. Gotta go Cheeks and the crew. Cass Tech said they ready for another one. They said they ready for another one, Coach Hall. Coach with his boys.
Bro, hold on, where was Drew? It feel like Drew lost all his, man. He lost all his athleticism, bro. It feel like that, bro.
You can catch me everywhere shooting like I'm rolling dice. You tryna put some money on it, let's roll the dice. This is not a
Jahlil.
That move was so tough though. I feel like, listen, bro, this is Drew is a complete totally player, bro. I feel like we got a injured Drew. They just got a injured Drew. This is a complete Drew. This is what Drew we want. This is the Drew we want. But this is not the Drew we want him to be. This is a I hate to say this. This is Drew. This is Drew. This is Drew. This is Drew. We're gonna see the leadership. The leadership he has is so impeccable, bro. And toughness, man. Literally, bro. I don't know who was going to step up. His leadership is so impeccable, man. So impeccable. Bro, it's to the point, man. Love Drew presence. You gotta love Drew presence. You gotta love his presence. You gotta love his presence. You got to. You got to. Or you just not under. Just stupid. You got to. You got to love his presence into the team. You love his presence to death, man. I love his presence to excuse me, his presence to death. His leadership's so good. Yeah, I just feel like his leadership is so good, bro. I love it, bro. I love it, bro. His leadership's so good, man. It's to the point, man. I love it, man. His defense, man. If they get the Drew, what do you want? Drew. Drew, what we want? If they get him in shape, Drew will be a bad boy. He'd be a bad man, bro. A different man than last year. A bad boy than last year, man. I feel like he got into his injury. He was injured the whole entire time, so they got him. I'm like, okay, let's make him a plan. Let's make him a plan. Let's make Drew a plan. Drew a plan. We got him. Let's make it a plan so he can be in shape. Let's make him a plan. Let's make him a plan, bro. Literally, let's make him a plan. Let's. Dude, calling me is so easy, bro.
Big games, big finales.
Oh, it's
big
a ad.
relief.
It's a ad.
Get 100
It's
plus
a ad.
channels of live sports, movies, and TV.
Oh my god. You good, DB? You good, DB? I feel like hold on. This is how I feel like. I feel like when you get him in shape, it's over with for PSL in the league, bro. It's over with. Once you get him in shape, he gonna talk his try. He gonna talk his ish. Gonna talk his ish, bro. Trying to tell you he gonna talk his ish. I'm trying to tell you guys. He's gonna talk his ish, bro. Y'all ain't gonna listen to me, he gonna talk his ish. You know. Pass out. Oh my God. We want this. We want this, Drew. That's 20, 30, 24/7, 24/7 on him, on his neck. We want this. We want this, bro. We want this, Drew. We want this. Not here you go. I wish we had the Moses brothers for one more year, bro. I wish we had DB for one more year at Warren Lincoln, bro. To show how it's done. The one 2026, man. I wish. me tell you a story, bro, about this game, bro. I had bought my ticket, bro. Bro, it's my mom at the car, bro. Literally. Oh my god, I was on my way to pull up, bro. This my mom. My grandma, so it was a sunlight. It was a sunlight on my grandma's car. It was a shade on my grandma's car. Which is respectable, bro. You don't want to draw to sunlight in your eyes, which is respectable. I was almost on my way to cover this, bro. Game, bro. Bought my ticket and everything. I was so sick that game, bro. This game, bro, because, bro, that was potentially the last I was gonna see DB, bro, again, bro. Dang, bro, that was the last game I was gonna see DB and the Blackwell brothers and Chris and the number one. That was the last time I was gonna see the Blackwell brothers, bro. Bro, I started a little bit crying, bro, because you understand, bro, and Gian too, bro. You understand, bro. It was so emotional, bro. It's so emotional not having the Blackwell brothers and DB and Gian and Chris and number one. It's so like emotional, bro. So emotional, bro. When they won, bro, and they went to the next round, I don't know who they played, but they beat them though. I don't know who they. Oh, they played. They played at the Siena Heights, bro. They played at the Siena Heights, bro. While I was at Detroit Mercy, bro, against it was King versus King. I'll never forget King versus King versus Wayne Memorial. When I say Wayne Memorial manhandled King, bro, oh my god, bro. They ran that zone, bro. It was over with, bro. With them, it was so over with. It was so over with because when they ran that zone, bro, you knew it was over with, bro. When Carlos turned up, you knew, and when Carlos turned up, you knew it was over with, though. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, I was so shocked. Hey, I was so shocked though when they beat UD, bro. Excuse me. I thought UD was gonna go all the way, bro. I was so mad, bro. But I was so happy and mad. I didn't know what to do. But that game was on the wire, bro. That game was a great game, bro, to go to at Renaissance, bro. And it was for the regionals, bro. Yes, bro. It was for the regionals, bro. I feel like they didn't have it easy. They had it easy though. I ain't gonna lie. I'ma be honest with you. I'ma be honest with you, bro. They got it easy, bro. Wayne Memorial, bro. They was going against Romulus gang. They was going against Crestwood, bro. I mean, I don't say gang, man. They was going against Romulus and Crestwood, bro. bro. Like, oh my God, UND, bro. That was the best. When I say that was the best game ever, the UND versus Wayne Memorial, people kept on doubt. I love the doubters, bro. Before I unpause this video, bro, you never know who's gonna win, bro. You never know who's gonna win. Somebody is I got a saying. Somebody always gonna dance in March, bro. Somebody always gonna dance in March, bro. And you don't know who it is, bro. It might be an underrated team, bro. It might be an 20 team, bro. With no talent, bro. Somebody is gonna take your spotlight and dance in March, bro. Somebody's gonna dance in March. Somebody. You don't know. This is what's gonna happen. You don't know what's going on in March. You just blindfolded. You don't know who's gonna win. You just blindfolded. Literally, you just blindfolded. Like Ham Germany said they was gonna win. You don't know. You just never know. Just like North Farmington versus Farmington. Farmington beat those guys and went to the regional finals, went to regionals, went to regional semis, and lost that to Wayne Memorial. Then Wayne Memorial, then UND versus Wayne Memorial. That was a man. Xavier Johnson and Leroy, they put their hearts out, bro. They played their hearts out, bro, in that gym, bro. In that Renaissance gym. They played that. So Renaissance hosted both gyms. Renaissance hosted both gyms. Both. The regionals and in the districts. They played their butts off. When I say they played their butts off, they played their butts off. I'm gonna be honest with you. You never know who's dancing in March. You never know who's dancing in March. I always gotta say, you never know who's dancing in March. You never know who's dancing in March. Or we're gonna be dancing, or somebody else gonna be dancing in March. Are we gonna be dancing in March? Ooh. Call me. Call me BB. Man, show him some Moses. Show him Moses. Show him Moses. Show him Moses.
I'm tryna roll tonight. You can catch me everywhere shooting like I'm roller dice. You tryna put some money on it, let's roll the dice. This is not an 8-day, little bro, we sipping foes tonight.
Hold on, my fault, my fault.